Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and every week I take a close look at what's happening to the real estate market here in the Villages. For those who are unaware, living in the Villages is like living in a resort. We are a 55 plus community. There is entertainment, recreation, shopping, dining, not to mention golf and pickleball, and there is live music at four town squares every night of the week. If you want to know what's happening to prices here, what's happening to inventory, what the long-term trends are, if you want to get a sense of where activity is taking place in the villages, this is the show for you. A couple of things to note. All of the information is drawn from the MLS. The Villages has two distinct real estate marketplaces, the VLS and the MLS. The VLS is run by the Villages. It's the only marketplace on which you'll find new homes, but pre-owned homes are listed both on the VLS and the MLS. What this means for you as a buyer is that you need to have agents who can show you properties both on VLS and on MLS. If you don't have the ability to see properties on both marketplaces, you will not be seeing about half of the properties for sale here. Similarly, sellers have to decide whether to list on VLS or MLS. You cannot list on both. We produce the show every week. Make sure you check the date to ensure you're getting the most recent information. And if you find this information valuable, please consider liking the video or even better, subscribing to the channel. Really helps us with YouTube. I can be reached at either DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. If you're a buyer looking for a good deal here or a seller looking to maximize your return, please reach out to me. Once again, DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. And with that out of the way, let's take a close look at what's happening this week. We start every week by taking a look at interest rates. Real estate is primarily financed, even though in the villages most buyers are paying cash. But a lot of those buyers have to sell a property elsewhere in the country to get the cash to buy here. So ultimately, interest rates do make a difference. And obviously, with an asset that's being financed, the level of interest rate is going to be a big factor in determining value. This chart is showing you the yield on the US 10-year note. The 30-year mortgage most closely tracks this yield. And it's apparent looking at this graph that for the last few days at least, interest rates have been coming down. We are still around 4% on the 10-year, putting us around 7% on the 30-year mortgage. And even though rates have fallen quite a bit over the last few days, I don't think anybody can be confident as to the future direction. So, with interest rates out of the way, what's happening with real estate here? Here you can see the number of listings on the MLS going back about 3 years. We're at exactly 700 listings as of today, the 28th of April. It is down very slightly. Last week it was 704. But looking at this chart, there's no real sign that the growth in listings will be slowing anytime soon. For those unaware of where the Villages is, I'm going to orient you very briefly. The Villages is located in Central Florida. We're about an hour north of Orlando, about an hour and a half from coasts both to the east and the west. But with the amount of amenities that we have in the Villages, not that many people take advantage of the coasts. There's so much to do here. These maps show you the location of every active listing on the MLS as of today. The size of the circle denotes the size of the property. Bigger the circle, bigger the home. And the color of the circle denotes its price per square foot. The lower per square foot, the darker the circle, the more expensive per square foot, the lighter the circle. We're going to be looking at a couple of these maps going forward, and they all follow the format of size denoting size and color denoting price per square foot. It is worth noting that even though this show focuses on price per square foot as a primary metric, that does not capture some things that are really highly valued here, such as location, views, and especially privacy. We're going to take an in-depth look at the differences between the regions of the villages, but before we do that, let me show you how I've divided the villages into four different geographic areas. The first is the area that I'm calling the North. This is everything south of Highway 42 and north of 466. This area includes Spanish Springs Town Square and also is the older part of the villages. The second area is the area I'm calling the Mid-North. This is everything south of 466 and north of 466A. This area includes Lake Sumter Town Square. This area is still one of the most popular areas in the villages due to its proximity to so many amenities. The third area is the area that I'm referring to as the Middle South. This is everything south of 466A and north of Highway 44. We're starting to get into the newer area of the villages now, and you'll see in the data points I'm going to show you that we're seeing increasing activity in the southern part of the villages these days. And the final area is the south. This is everything south of Highway 44. This is the newest part of the villages. This is where the construction and expansion of the villages is taking place. And we're seeing increasing levels of activity in the south. I remember when the south had barely any activity at all, and now I think it's one of the more active areas here. Before we look at the differences between the regions, let me just continue on with describing the state of the market as a whole. Here we're looking at the median time on the market for all active MLS listings as of today. I've pointed this out before, but I think it's worth noting again. Prior to this year, it was very unusual to see median days on the market exceed 50 days for any period of time. And once again, we are above 50 days, and it looks like the amount of time on the market is increasing again. This is the median list price per foot for all active listings. This week, 255.27 a foot, identical to the 255.27 of last week. And even though the listing price per square foot did not drop this week, looking at this graph doesn't give one much confidence that we've seen a bottom yet. So now I'll illustrate the differences between the regions of the villages. First, let's start by looking at the villages as a whole. This week, 700 active listings. Sizes range from 810 square feet to 3,620, with 1,510 square feet being the median. Prices range from 125,000 to 1,489,000, with 375,000 being the median. And on a price per square foot basis, prices range from 104 to 505, with $205 a square foot being the median. Here we can start to see the differences between the regions of the villages. You can see how many listings there are in the north, mid-south, and south. You can see how the sizes vary. The smallest, largest, and median size is provided for each of the regions. The same information for price, lowest, highest, and median. And you can see on a per foot basis how the prices differ between the regions. For example, in the north, prices are as low as $104 a foot and as high as $377. In the south, the price per square foot ranges from 195 to 505, with 276 being the median. This chart gives you an idea as to how old the homes are in the different regions of the villages. For example, you can see the entirety of villages on the right. You can see the year of construction and how many homes are available for sale for that year of construction. In the north, you can see that construction began in the 80s and virtually ceased in 2000. In the middle north, the construction activity was from 2000 to about 2010. In the middle south, from 2010 through 2020. And in the south, you can see that construction really only began in 2020. Another look at the difference in activity between the regions of the villages. You can see north, mid-south, and south, how many homes are active as of today, how many have gone pending over the last 60 days. Please note that when we look at pending home sales, we're looking at the last 7 days. When we're looking at this data point, we're looking at the last 60. You can see how many homes are active and have gone pending in the last 60 days or sold in the last 60 days in each of the 4 regions. If the number is higher than the previous week, it's highlighted in green. If it's lower than the previous week, it's highlighted in red. Now we'll look at what changed last week. We're looking at how many homes entered the market as new listings and how many homes left the market as homes going pending. You're looking at a 4-week moving average. The 1250 is a 4-week average. On this graph, the new listings are in red and the pending home sales are in blue. It is interesting to note that until this year, the number of new listings and homes going pending seem to track fairly closely with each other. This year, the number of new listings has certainly exceeded the number of homes going pending. Here we're looking at the actual data point. This is the difference between new listings and homes going pending on a week-by-week basis. There was improvement last week. There were only two more new listings than homes going pending. Readings of less than zero indicate more new listings than homes going pending. You can see that for the last 6, 8 months or so, the number of new listings has exceeded the number of homes going pending. We'll take a closer look at the homes going pending. These are the homes going pending over the last 7 days, and the median time on the market for those homes was 44 days. It's not that elevated a number historically, but what seems normal now seemed like a high number a year or so ago. Here we look at the median price per square foot for the homes that went pending over the last 7 days, 249.79. We have retreated from the 255 number, and we're heading into a slower part of the year. I'll show you with sales activity what we can expect on a seasonal basis. This 249.79 median price per square foot is a 4-week average. The data point for last week was only 240.66 for the homes that went pending last week. It may be too early to become alarmed, but it certainly is worth noting that for the homes that went pending over the last 7 days, the median price reduction from the original asking price was a 7.14% price reduction. 8% seemed like a very high number just recently. It's starting to look like a more reasonable number now. We're going to take an in-depth look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days, but before we do that, I thought you might find this interesting. This map is showing you all properties that have been on the market for 6 months or longer. As of today, that number's 74 properties. Now we'll look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. The 4-week average of the number of closings is 40 and a half. You can see that we have seen activity similar to what we've seen in previous years. It doesn't seem that sales activity is that low. The problem is that the amount of inventory has almost doubled over the last year, and similar sales levels to a year ago are obviously not going to help with that problem. Here we look at the median time on the market for the homes closing last week. 36 days is the 4-week average of the median time on the market. It's been a long time since we've seen median time on the market for homes closing at less than 30 days. This is probably a wake-up call for people who have homes on the market. We're looking at the median price per square foot for the homes closing over the last 7 days, 242.75, and comfortably close to 240, and 250 now seems like a goal. This is an interesting data point. Here we're looking at how the price per square foot varies based on the price of the home. So, for example, for the villages as a whole, 255.27 a foot is the median list price per square foot. For the homes under 200,000, the least expensive on a per foot basis is 104, and the most 195, with $167 a square foot being the median. And there are 15 homes available for sale in this price range. In the most active price range, the $200,000 to $400,000 range, price per square foot ranges from $134 a foot to $332 a foot, with $244 a foot being the median, and there are 395 homes available in this price range. This week, once again, we do not have any homes in the villages active on the market at $1.5 million or more. We try to get a sense of the state of the market from this information as well. Here we're looking at what percentage of listings have reduced their asking price from the original asking price. This week, 61% have reduced their asking price. I don't need to draw your attention to the fact that the percentage of listings reducing prices of 60 or higher has only occurred a handful of times. It looks like this is a number we may be getting used to seeing. This is similar data. Here we're looking at what the median price reduction actually is. The previous chart was looking at what percentage of properties had reduced their asking price. Here we're looking at what the actual reduction is. We're up to a median 4.89% reduction from the original asking price for all active MLS listings this week. It is interesting that since the beginning of December, the reduction or price reduction that sellers have been offering has continued to increase. If you're a buyer and you're trying to find a good deal in the villages, or you're a seller trying to maximize your return, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to answer any questions about life in Central Florida or life in the villages or real estate in the villages. And once again, if you found the information helpful, please consider liking the video or subscribing to the channel. It really would be appreciated. If you have any questions, I hope to hear from you. Take care.